You all have been waiting. You've all been waiting for this. Yeah, you all knew. Every single one of you who's watched these videos knew that this was coming, and you've just been sitting there waiting for me to get tortured. Oh, you're all so fucking lovely. Yeah, I want to see Brady feed Curly his fucking leg. That'll get Hello, and welcome back to Therapist Plays Mouthwashing. All right, it's time to finish this. I'm not even going to talk much about my experience of finishing this game because you all know where this is heading, and I'll let the reaction and the analysis speak for themselves. But I do just want to say thank you to those of you who recommended this experience to me because it has brought a lot of new people to the channel, which has been really exciting. And it's been a very educationally and emotionally rewarding series to make and to see all of you enjoy. So I want to end at least my experience of the game on a high note and say thank you. I'm very grateful for this community and for all of your perspectives. It's just been so great to see how many people resonate with all of the stuff that we discuss, and I'm just always happy to see more investment in people's mental health. So on that note, I hope you enjoy this finale to Therapist Plays Mouthwashing. Hello, and welcome back. All right, we are one day before the crash, and there's a lot going on. A lot of sort of like hanging threads. And so I'm not going to jump straight into an analysis this time because I'm really eager to see what's coming next before I sort of dig into everything that's going on. So I imagine we must be Curly right now. This may be some of our final moments as Curly, actually. Let's see if there's any pleasant memories in them. Where's my darling crew? My confidants, my friends, the people who trust me. I'm just like mentally preparing myself to be traumatized here. Anya? What's wrong, Anya? For fuck's sake. Where is it? Us being let go isn't a reason to hurt yourself. Anya, as our nurse, you never got psyche evals. I should have thought of that. You could have come to me if you were feeling stressed. She kind of did. She kind of did, Curly. What would you have done? Anything. Anything. You, the crew, are all my responsibility. I told you so over and over, yeah? I'm not going to hurt myself. You know the gun is in a safety case I can't open. But I hid the case itself. Tell me where it is. None of this has to be on our performance log. We'll figure it out together. I'm pregnant. She did make that point when she was talking to Curly, when she was asking how long is the trip. And she said the number 8 months was in her mind. Which also means that what happened to her was not that long ago. Your what? Who would you... Captain, I told you. Listen to me. We can fix this. I've known him for a long time. I'll talk to him. What do you mean by that, Curly? What do you mean you'll fix this? What is talking to him gonna do? I know you'd never give me the gun to protect myself, so the least I can do is make sure he never gets it either. And this is like Curly's flaw, okay? Now in comparison, Curly's a fucking saint compared to Jimmy. But he's not perfect. And you can see that, like, in trying to maintain and manage everyone's anxiety and be in good standing with everyone, like he's quite hesitant to actually advocate, like, for what does Anya want, right? Like in this situation, he's thinking like, what can I do to make her feel safe? But he also has his own like agenda here, which is like, you know, Jimmy's my friend. There must just be some misunderstanding, or you were confused, or like we don't know exactly what's in his head. But the fact that he's not immediately horrified does not make me jump to, oh, Curly's a bad person and thinks that this is okay. But there's clearly some kind of like defense mechanism in his own mind that tells him like, I'm having a hard time accepting this. I'm having a hard time accepting that this happened on my watch. I'm having a hard time accepting that Anya tried to tell me and I wasn't able to detect that. Like, what is wrong with me? Like, there's a lot of that going on. Again, I feel so bad. Like, I always find myself like breaking this stuff down while someone is in like active stress or pain. I don't mean to do this. I don't sort of mean to linger on these moments, but that's when the juicy stuff happens. So yeah, but Curly, unfortunately, I don't find him decisive enough. Which is to say, I think that he has a good intuition for like, this is wrong, something is wrong, I can do something about this. But then his hesitation for making the situation worse starts to kick in, and he wonders like, there's gotta be some other explanation. There's gotta be some other solution. I'll go talk to him. When, as I think we'll get into in this episode, I'm not really sure that Jimmy is the talk it through type. God damn it! These chapters are getting so short. 6 hours until judgment. Fucking Daisuke, what is happening? The bleeding won't stop. Just try to stay still, Daisuke. I need a second to think. I can fix this. Hey, kid. You hear me? Yeah. Daisuke? This poor kid. Hey, stop! 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 Don't move. It's all right, Daisuke. Calm down. This line of work, you could never have become like miserable old Swansea. What a tragedy. Decades of hauling ass for Pony Express. Big mighty bruiser with all his shiny tools. This is where it got me. The good life, huh? I thought you were dumber than a can of paint. Always just chewing my ear off about nothing. Useless ray of goddamn sunshine. Not an A student, career workhorse, or force of ambition. Just a damn good kid trying his best. You could have taught an old fool like me a lot. Close your eyes, Daisuke. Wait, what? What is he doing? What the fuck? What the fuck? I legitimately cannot believe that that just happened. I now see why it was such an awkward point for me to pause during the last episode. But how psychologically appropriate that we coped in advance with the cats. You monster. I could have fixed him, Swansea. I have to do everything myself. Why can't any of you just give me some time to fucking think? How do you still not understand? It's over. End of the fucking line. You won't suffer one more second because of your delusions. Unbelievable. Stop pretending. I know all about your plans, Swansea. I went to utility. I saw what you've been hiding down there. Sneaking around with that axe, telling Anya who knows what. And now this? You're making sure you're the only one who gets inside of that cryopod. I sure did talk to Anya. But it was her telling me all sorts of things instead, wasn't it? Shouldn't a captain go down with his ship? Not that it matters anymore. I ain't got no place to be. I got everything I could ever want right here on this ship. So go ahead. Get in the pod. If you ever get found, you can tell him whatever fucking story you like. You've earned it. Oh my god. This just got so much fucking worse. Like, this has got to be it, right? This has got to be the peak of the trauma. Like, actually, like we've reached the summit of Trauma Town, Trauma Mountain, and now we're on the descent, right? Right? Fucking Daisuke, man. Like I said, I kind of come back to my original idea about like the emotional range type of thing. Like Swansea would never do that in a good state of mind, right? That's kind of the theme of a lot of this. Like all of these people in the right state of mind, except Jimmy, are not resorting to these like very extreme behaviors. Jimmy, you know, did some fucked up shit before there was any sort of crisis, but like Swansea clearly still has access to empathy, but his emotional range is so compressed by like this crisis situation that he sees what he did as an act of empathy. I can't see myself agreeing with that. Like, we certainly didn't ask Daisuke what he wants. Swansea sort of took the initiative there. Okay, well, when is Swansea going to come after me with the axe? It's like kind of a rare thing to be in a game like this where I'm like, I hope someone kills me. I hope someone does to me, which has happened to Daisuke. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is going to be even sadder when I start talking through my analysis of this episode, because my plan was to come in and like, now that we know enough about the characters, talk about what's their psychological outlook. Like, how would therapy look with them? What's the path to healing for everyone? For Curly, for Jimmy, for Anya, for Swansea, for Daisuke? What's the approach that we could use? What would be some of the things I would look out for? And all of that feels like very sour to think about because we didn't make it. We didn't make it there. I'm still gonna talk about it. I'm still gonna do it because I think the reason this game resonates so much with people is because of the experiences that we share with these characters, or even just the emotions that we relate to. And so if it helps anyone to know that there is points along the journey to what we're seeing here where things could have changed, then I'll take responsibility to to talk about those things and share them with you. It didn't work out in this situation. There's no therapist on board. There's just a couple of monsters. Okay, this is quite like an overload actually, so I'm gonna go find Swansea first. I need to find like some kind of good moment in the story to do this. Like, I can't do it on this note. This is just too much. Okay, I couldn't find Swansea. I guess my mission is get the gun. I am reminded though that like earlier we were like unable to see this this scene. I think part of that is just narrative design, like wanting to keep us from being aware of what happened. But I also think that like that was a part of Jimmy's conscious mind that like literally rejected what he saw here. Like, the mind is a very powerful thing at repressing information, as we will discuss, because it is relevant to like the therapeutic approach that I want to talk about. I guess we need this to see like the code maybe. Or where would we find that actually? I think this is where we originally got it. No, 739 maybe. Try that. Okay, let's try this. Yep. Oh, great. Fucking Jimmy has the gun now. Dude, Curly has been through the worst. And what I was talking about before, like his hesitation to sort of like maybe follow his intuition on what's the right thing to do, trying to sort of be like to balance the team or balance the tension or like still try to problem solve when the problem is really past reasonable. You can tell that he cares a lot about being in control of a situation. And for him to be specifically the one who is like completely stripped of control over his own self and over the situation and having to witness all of this and not being able to even voice his opinion, like that is like beyond the physical, emotional trauma that he's experienced. Like it's a complete affront to his like entire reason for doing everything. Okay, well, issued to captains in case of unrest amongst the crew. That's what it's for, I guess. Okay, well, we have the gun. Jimmy! Oh, okay. It's just the two of us left. 0 days before the crash. Okay. Is this it? Should I pause here to talk? To lighten the mood a little bit? I mean, we're not in a light mood. I feel like there is no more light mood. Okay, I'm gonna do it anyways. I need to like, this is my own way of coping, okay? Is to like, can I add some psychological context to this that it's not gonna make it okay, but it may change a little bit of how we feel about things, which is maybe to inspire hope for, yeah, like I said, all of us who relate to them. So when I think about the process of therapy, but more specifically the process of change, right? I'm, again, just going to go somewhere else while I do this. I really don't want to therapize over someone who is in agony. Okay, this is a good enough place. When I think about the process of change, right, there's kind of three components that I'm looking for when I'm trying to work with someone. And they are awareness, insight, and change. Okay. I'm looking for these three things, and we can kind of narrow them down to actually being sort of like what, why, and how. Okay. So if you think about trying to change any kind of behavior, right? Like you're looking at your life and you're saying, man, I've been really lazy lately. And I don't know how I can get myself out of this funk, right? Well, you have some awareness. You know what the problem is, right? And a lot of times people are coming to therapy with some awareness. They kind of, that's kind of why they're there. They're aware that something is not going well, something's not going right. They need some perspective. They need some skills. They need some sort of alignment to their overarching goals. And there's some barriers there, right? So we have some awareness. I have been lazy lately, or I haven't been able to get things done. Why can't I get things done, right? Like it is a question, but it does come with some awareness. The how, sometimes we have a little bit of that too, right? Like the how can be quite straightforward. It's just the opposite of what we see. It's like, oh, I've been lazy lately. So the change I need to do, the how to be unlazy is like, be more disciplined, take more action, get a schedule, make a plan, right? Like, it seems kind of straightforward. People come in all the time with like some awareness and some idea of how to change, right? Oh, I'm aware that I've been smoking too much. It causes me to have shortness of breath and like, it's costing me money. Like, I'm aware of the problem. I know that the how, the change is to stop doing it, right? But I see these as like not always being enough to actually change a behavior, right? Because we're sort of missing this. I think that a lot of times we don't have a compelling enough reasons for why that make this like 3-stage process actually happen. So you can discover that, oh, I've been lazy lately. I've been missing appointments. I haven't been getting as much done. I'm procrastinating, right? I know I need to be more on top of stuff. There's some glue missing, which is like, okay, but why have I been lazy? What's the pattern of behavior that's been leading to this, right? What's going on in my life that is making it harder to have that energy or have that initiative or be motivated to do those things? This is usually the thing we're struggling the most with, that sort of prevents change, right? I'm aware that smoking is a problem. I know that I need to stop doing it, but the insight that we're missing is usually like, well, it's not killing me enough, basically. I can still afford it. So like, I'm aware that it could turn into more of a problem, but it's like, it's not enough, right? There's not a deep enough understanding of why the behavior is there. What anxiety are we trying to regulate? Are we using it as a stimulant, as a substitute for like something else, right? This is so critical to having the follow through for any behavioral change. Otherwise, you can sort of like make these quick behavioral chains like, oh, I'm aware that I've been lazy. Why don't I build a schedule and I'll get up earlier? But you may find that like after a couple of days, that schedule disappears. You're not following it as much, right? You're starting to like justify why you don't need it, right? And even the problem starts to slip away from our awareness. Because we never actually like developed a strong enough why for why this is now essential. And so I look at this and I think about the characters we've seen so far, right? Let's start with Curly. I feel like Curly does have quite a bit of self-awareness and awareness of people around him. He's definitely missing some. He's aware that like I'm a trustworthy person to my crew. I'm aware that I have some shortfalls. I'm aware that I can't always be, the most effective leader because I may have personal biases that conflict with that. Like he might be able to say some of those things, right? What he's not aware of is the ripple effect that has on people like Anya, people like Daisuke, right? On people like Jimmy. Partially, I think the reason that Jimmy got away with what he did or even attempted it is because he knew that Curly was either rejecting some awareness to it or would enable it or would not come down so hard on it, right? And would assume some sort of misunderstanding, right? Like he has some blind spots here, but he does have enough awareness to like go to therapy, right? Let's say that he's the type of person who's like, yeah, I've got some positive qualities and some negative ones, but I'm aware there's something missing and I know I need to be better. But I'm just not sure what I'm missing and how I can do it better, right? So Curly is the person who goes to therapy and, learns about like his impact on people, the positive and negative effects of that, starts to develop insight around, usually it's patterns of behavior. Like you didn't just hesitate once, you hesitate in a lot of situations. You hesitated to ask further with Anya. You hesitated to tell the crew about Pony Express. You hesitated to get that next promotion, right? Like, what is the pattern here? Why do we keep coming across this? I know I hesitate. I know I need to take more initiative, but why? What's the pattern? That's what I'm there to help them do, right? So Curly, he goes to therapy, okay? Anya goes to therapy, okay? She's the type of person who goes to therapy, has quite a bit of self-awareness. I would say more so than most of the others, right? She is aware of what bothers her, what makes her feel unsafe, who is a threat, who is trustworthy. She probably does have quite a bit of insight, right? Like she is able to see those situations where she can say, oh, I know that to protect myself, I need to sort of placate someone like Jimmy because he's dangerous, right? And if I'm seen as a confrontational person or a threat, I could be in danger, right? Like she does have some insight. I think she probably struggles more so with this one. Her level of self-advocacy comes out more emotionally, right? Like being aware and trying to make other people aware of certain issues, understanding how deep the problem is, right? She didn't try to deny it. She didn't try to say, oh, well, it wasn't, she didn't minimize it, right? A lack of insight will often see minimizing, like, oh, maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe I misunderstood the intention or something. Like, no, she's aware. I think that she maybe struggles more so with the self-advocacy of actually like making the change, right? Until this moment where, unfortunately, the change, the how to alleviate herself of the situation was to take herself out of it. So we have Curly, we have Anya, and we have Jimmy, right? I'm just going to kind of talk about the three of them. Curly has some awareness, not so much insight. It can make some changes, but like they don't always stick. They're not super consistent because he's kind of missing this crucial piece that leads to like new patterns of leadership, behavior, whatever it is, right? Anya, she's got good awareness, good insight, maybe struggles with making meaningful change. Jimmy, no awareness, no insight, can make change, right? But sort of like it tries to brute force it, right? And this is like a really dangerous sort of combination where he tries to make changes all the time, but without any awareness to himself. Like I was talking about, he's not really aware of what he's feeling or what other people are feeling, and he doesn't really care. And because of that, he's not really trying to look for the why of how he feels these things and does these things. He's often looking to other people, right? Well, Anya made me upset. Curly put me in this situation, right? I was forced by the situation to put Daisuke in the vent, right? He's missing the really important stuff, right? Like the first two pieces. And so what that often leads to is like, Curly goes to therapy, right? I'm missing some insight. How do I get this missing piece? Anya goes to therapy. How can I follow through more with actually the emotional truths that I'm aware of? This is the sad part. Jimmy doesn't go to therapy. We don't see Jimmy in therapy, okay? Jimmy is the type of person who, at every turn, rejects opportunities to become aware, right? When someone comes to him and is like, you make me uncomfortable, like he doesn't say, oh, I didn't realize that. Can you like help me understand that so that I can change, right? He sort of pushes it back on them and it's like, well, that's because you're incompetent. You're clearly just bad at your job and that's why you're uncomfortable. It's not about me. That's kind of what he said to Anya. Jimmy doesn't do the introspective work that makes him question, why am I like this? Why am I doing these things? He looks only at the situation and says like, oh, I was pushed to do this. I had no other choice. I'm the only one around here trying to do anything. And it's like, well, we need you to do less, Jimmy, do less, say less, and like think more, feel more. And unfortunately, that's just the kind of person who does not seek out guidance. Like you don't find him in the therapeutic crucible of like working this shit out. And so many people who like really reflect Jimmy's personality and the darker parts of humanity, they're not the ones sitting in my office. They don't come. And part of that is because of how we go about developing these things. Okay, so this is like one of my major theories of counseling. What I'm always thinking about when I'm working on something like this, and I'm trying to think, okay, what's the sort of combination that we need here? What's missing for this person, right? And it looks like this, basically, is that we tend to experience a certain amount of anxiety over time, right? And it's very natural as our anxiety goes up that we start implementing skills to bring it down, right? Like we're trying to keep our anxiety low. No one wants to live in a high anxiety state. And so at these points, we may be like putting in our coping skills, like our natural self-preservation, get some distance from the problem, talk it out, whatever. Like that's totally fine. Like that's just the anxiety that you deal with in life, right? But the therapeutic environment and relationship, we have kind of a different purpose for anxiety. There is a certain amount of anxiety that I actually want you to have in the therapy session. And the reason for that is because this is where like real psychological work can take place, right? If we're working on something like anger management and we're talking about all of the past situations where anger was not able to be controlled, and here was the fallout, and okay, we're giving a history, but a very unemotional history, sort of like just an account of experiences. We could talk in hypotheticals about future situations where we might want to implement these skills, but like the person's anxiety is actually going to be quite low, right? The conversation is going to be very like intellectual, not very emotional, let's say. And that can be valuable, but for something really challenging, like an emotionally charged subject like anger or depression or anxiety or fear and rejection, like all of these things that are deserving of like real investigation therapeutically, we kind of need a bit of that sensation present to really like understand it, capture it, work through it, discover like productive ways of talking and feeling about it and changing our perception about like what it's doing to us, what it means, right? And so actually, I'm going to try to raise our anxiety a little bit. I want to get to this psychological work zone, okay? And so many times I'll be in a situation where someone comes in and they're telling me, Brady, I just got broken up with by the love of my life, and I'm devastated. I say, okay, what is it like to be sitting with that pain right now? Let's go up here, right? I do want to provoke a little bit of that feeling so that it's present, it's live material. But you'll often find that as we go up, we sort of get involved and try to lower our anxiety. What people tend to do is they speak very intellectually about things, and they will say things like, well, the relationship hasn't really been going in the best direction lately. The last time that we really connected was this time 6 months ago, and I was really hoping that things could be different. And okay, you've sufficiently brought your anxiety down by like telling me a story, right? But you've avoided like getting in touch with the pain. Okay, that really sounds like you felt rejected. Okay, tell me about that. What is it like to feel that way? In my life, I never really felt like I connected with someone, and we want to come down. Like, it's totally understandable. It's completely natural. It's like self-preservation, right? But it's problematic for like the therapeutic work, right? Like at that stage, we're missing the charge that actually gets us into like the real necessary, the work that's actually going to make a difference in all of this. And men are especially good at this. We're so good at intellectualizing our problems, right? And sort of avoiding speaking about them with the emotion present. And so for a certain kind of person, like I am actually going to use techniques to provoke that, okay? If I'm talking to Curly and he's bringing some awareness in and he's saying, I'm aware that people trust me, but I'm finding that I feel really limited in how much I can help them sometimes, and it makes me feel guilty. Okay, tell me about that feeling of guilt, Curly. What is it like to care so much for people that you fear you're actually hurting? And I'm going to try to provoke that reaction. I want him to be present with that feeling so that we can really capture it. We need to be at a point where he can actually discover, like, the reason I feel guilty is because I feel like I'm not enough for these people. I'm in these leadership positions, and I know that they count on me, but I feel like I'm ineffective. And I'm wondering if there's not someone else better suited for the job. Do I deserve this position, or did I get here accidentally? That's a very raw sort of feeling and question, and like can lead to a lot of insight about Curly's sense of self-efficacy, right? Like his self-worth, his sense of, is he a good person, or is he letting his own sort of like need to climb the corporate ladder interfere with like moral responsibility? But we can't get there. We can't understand how linked some of that shame is with his inaction if we're not like with the emotionally charged subject. If we stay down here in the intellectualizing zone, then we don't really get anywhere. We're talking a lot about the problem, but we're not in the problem. And so Curly's the kind of person who, as I sort of like make these confrontations, he's going to sort of defend against that and intellectualize. And I'm going to keep working until I provoke him enough to the point where he says, yeah, I feel like I'm just not enough. I feel lost, and I don't know if I really deserve to be here. And that's when I'll slow down, okay? When we've hit that like emotional zone where like something is really present and we can develop insight around it, like now I'm going to sort of moderate that. I'm not going to go any higher. I'm not going to keep provoking. And I'm also not going to try very hard to like soothe the person down. I'm going to slow down at that point. I'm going to ask Curly something like, why did you want to be a leader, Curly? Why was this important to you? Because I care, you know? I care about being someone who can be in a position to help others. I know that leadership comes with certain responsibilities and that you can't make everyone happy all the time. And I know that I'm not always going to make the right decision. But at the end of the day, I want to make a difference for other people. Okay. And what do you need to do then? What is in the way of you making that difference? I find that people are pretty great at talking about the things that they don't want to happen and what they can't do about those things. We're less great at talking about the things that we want to happen and what we can do about them. And so this is where you can get into quite like a solutions-focused approach. Curly, you've been talking about like all of the ways that the crew could have these problems. You've been talking about the disappointment that you feel from them and some of the mistakes that you've made. It's a lot of these things that you've not been able to do. And you're identifying all these reasons that you can't do anything about them. You're shameful, you're guilty, you hesitate too much. What do you want to happen and what can you do about it? And what I'm looking for there is like the insight that tells him, I need to be more decisive. I need to trust my intuition that tells me this is right, this is wrong. I'm in this position of leadership for a reason. I am cut out for it. I do believe that I'm suited for it. But then what I need to do is take the fucking responsibility to actually like listen to the needs of my people and take care of them. Protect them and not just protect yourself or the mission. You don't have the mission without the people, so protect them. Be decisive. And out of that work zone, he might discover, I need to take more responsibility and I need to be more decisive. And now we've got all three, right? Then I want the anxiety to come down. I do not want you to live in this work zone. Okay. I just want to like occupy it for a bit until we discover something of value and can see the pathway to change. So that's kind of what it looks like for someone like Curly, okay? The therapeutic dynamic with someone like Anya is going to look very different, right? With maybe a higher sense of emotional sensitivity, there are some people who, when I ask those kinds of questions and I'm trying to provoke some of that anxiety, we actually go too high, right? Especially if she's experienced some sort of trauma. And if my line of questioning is, what did it feel like to be so afraid in that situation where there were no locks on the door, it may actually bring her too high, right? And instead of intellectualizing things, we end up in sort of a crisis. Now, the therapeutic dynamic is not about provoking more of the emotion. It's actually about bringing it down, right, to a workable zone. Same workable zone, okay? it's more self-soothing. It's more promoting positive self-talk. The development of insight and awareness is still the same. Like we want to live here where we can sense enough of the difficult emotion to work through it, but not try to abandon it down here or succumb completely to it up here. So it's just a very different dynamic, right? I'm really thinking about who is the type of person that I'm working with, and like, is this a emotion needs to go higher situation? Is it an emotion needs to come down situation? Somewhere in this zone, we're going to find the missing piece to this sort of equation, right? This is just my perspective, right? Like, that's kind of how I operate. So I come back to someone like Jimmy, right? Like I said, we don't see Jimmy in therapy. He doesn't come because if Jimmy's emotion is like this fear of not being in control, and it's shame of not being able to connect with people, whatever it is, and I start like trying to get him into that zone, like the first time I provoke or confront that, like he leaves the session. He's not invested enough to like sit and endure that, because Curly understands where I'm going with that. Like, I know you're trying to provoke this reaction out of me, and you're doing it in a way that's meant to be like safe, right? There's therapeutic rapport. I'm a skilled professional in like helping people stay in that zone and not go above or below it, right? He's invested. He understands what I'm doing. Jimmy doesn't. Jimmy thinks I'm just being an asshole, and he leaves. He leaves before we ever get to that point, right? And that's not to say that like there's no outlook for someone like Jimmy. I do think that there is a band somewhere in everyone's emotional range that like there is the potential for work, but Jimmy's maybe like trying to hit a bullseye. Like, it's such a narrow line where he has to trust you, trust the process, admit that he is unaware of things, be curious about things he is lacking insight into, and completely recalibrate his ways of enacting change. And all of that needs to take place in a very thin, narrow sort of like emotional band, which, like I said, trying to like get him there without him running out of the session, it's just really like unlikely that this is the kind of person who sticks it out. So all of this is to say, right, I do strongly believe in people's capacity to change. And consequentially, I actually have worked with Jimmys. Like I said, they don't really come to therapy like on purpose. But there are times where someone is court ordered to be in therapy, or they're on some sort of probation, and probation requests that they be a part of our mental health program or whatever it is, right? And I find myself sitting in front of a Jimmy. And if I treat this as a lost cause, it will be, right? And so like, I do look for that narrow band of emotional effectiveness. I do try to work with them on being invested in that process. And it can be very rewarding if you do make some headway. I've absolutely worked with people who, the conversation is not about, are we looking to forgive, things that they've done in the past? It's like, this is a person who's going to continue living in this world, and can we set them up to be a better person in it? It can be difficult to be in that position where I might work with an Anya and a Jimmy on the same day. And just like this game, the kind of whiplash I feel between chapters, like I felt it in real life, where like I have to be highly emotionally sensitive to a victim, and an hour later, right, shift perspective to rehabilitation from someone who has been on the other side of that. And it's difficult. You need a certain kind of mental constitution to do this work, and to remain impartial, right? I'm here on this like channel kind of goofing off as I talk about this stuff, because I'm not at work. I'm just having fun on YouTube. And so I'm not putting my mindset in the position where I am like tightening up my personal opinions that much. I've said many times, like, Jimmy's a monster. What a piece of shit. Like, that may be what I feel about him as a character, but if Jimmy's my client, I'm working with him. It's not really important what I think about him, right? It's my responsibility to like be in front of this person and help them understand what if anything can change, if nothing else, to prevent something that they've done before from happening again. So all that said, the depiction of these characters is so good, because it is putting realistic people in a situation that parallels many real world ones, where like just the increase in psychological pressure unravels a lot of our mental protections to things. It's kind of what I said at the very beginning of the game. I was mostly thinking of the person who crashed the ship, right, at that point. But I'm now looking at everyone as having experienced something like this, where Anya, things wouldn't have turned out this way if she had full access to her emotional range, right? She experienced a trauma that, out of self-defense of her own mental state, this probably, became more narrow. She was put in a crisis situation, which, with a lot of elevated anxiety, and she was looking for a way to get out of that. She made a choice that she probably normally wouldn't. Swansea made a choice that he wouldn't, right? In feeling like there was no positive outlook for someone he cared about, he did something that in his mind was a way of relieving that person's pain. And from our vantage point, like, it's quite horrifying. It's not at all acceptable or even understandable. All I'm saying is that it is visible. It is visible to see how we got here. This game has done a very good job of making these problems visible. Anya's problem, visible. Jimmy's problems, visible. Curly's problems, right? Swansea's problems. None of this to me is about, like, should we try to find ways to empathize with someone like Jimmy? Should we forgive someone like Curly? Could Anya have done more to advocate for herself? Like, those are not questions I'm really that interested in. I don't think the game is either. I think it's more focused on the visibility of these very real issues and putting in front of us actually traceable paths that show how they happen. Essentially, it's about how complex people make complex decisions. And in a sense, maybe the game is even doing a little bit of this with us, which is, we can't sweep this stuff under the rug, right? We can't just look intellectually at what are severe scenarios of the human condition. And we also can't survive living up here with them, right? The game wants us to live here in a workable zone where we can sort of like parse and understand and come away with something of value from these experiences. Although it does seem to enjoy going up here every once in a while just to torture us. So, this kind of how I see the situation at this point in the story. And like I said, I hope that this at least helps the people who can maybe relate to these situations, or maybe have been to therapy and have had a hard time either understanding what the benefit of it is, or why the process is like that, right? Like I said, that's just my style to sometimes work with confrontation, because I feel safe doing that. I know that once I've hit this point, I know how to sort of slow down and capture that. Some therapists might like look at all of the stuff I've talked about and think like, that's insane. You shouldn't be raising anyone's anxiety. That's why we have many different approaches, right? But it can be quite effective if there is enough trust in that relationship first, that it's known why I'm doing that, and that there's an expectation that it's being done safely. And this isn't even like a universal approach for myself, right? Like it's something when I'm specifically looking at this dynamic, like we're missing a component here, and this is like a very effective way of discovering, one, what that component is, and exploring it. But there are many ways to help people. So with all that said, I wonder if there's any help that we can give in the rest of this game. I'm starting to feel like there's not. Jim, I can fix this. What do you think will happen when we get back? Hmm? We can figure all of this out. You and me. All I ever hear is how great of a leader you are. God, it's so annoying. But now, what do you think will happen now when we get back? We'll fix this together. Everything you and I worked for in our lives, accomplishments, changes, none of it will matter. You've gotten through difficult situations before. This time won't be any different. Work through it, one day at a time. You can see how much he is not willing to, like, visit even his own discomfort about what he just heard from Anya. Like, my first fucking question for Jimmy would be like, what the fuck happened? But he's coming up to him and he's like, we're gonna make it through it, Jim. You and me. What about everyone else, Curly? What about everyone else? It's not just me, is it? You were supposed to be the one who had everything under control. You said so yourself. This ship, this crew, everything that happened here. This was your responsibility, Captain. That is what you'll be hearing for the rest of your life. Or this can all be remembered as a tragedy. Despite what must have been the best efforts of its acclaimed captain, the Tulpar crew was never found. No one survived to tell the tale. You're standing at the top. Holy shit! That's Curly! It's really the first look we've actually gotten of him. Feet in cement. I get it now, right? Right. I'll take care of it. Yeah. Saw this one coming. Saw this one coming. Okay. It's judgment time. System failure. Are we ready to take some fucking responsibility here? Jim, tell me you didn't. I should have. I didn't. What the fuck did you do? That should have been his reaction after the news he learned from Anya. But you can see, like, with enough of the anxiety, like, he he actually comes to, like, a real understanding of what he's suppressing. Fucking clocked you, Curly. I clocked you. I clocked you at the beginning of the game. I just clocked the wrong person as well. Holy shit. Oh, and now we just have Curly in our arms. Oh, this is so fucked. What are you gonna do, Jim? What more could you even do? Oh my God. Woohoo! Happy birthday, Captain! This rocks! Here, here. To Captain Jimbo. Come on! You have to give a speech. Holy shit, this is so fucked. Go on, have at it. You better make it good. Hell yeah. Our captain. Captain Jimmy. The way this parallels the earlier scene. Holy shit. Are you serious? Get the job done. Come on. Come on. You're gonna make me do this shit? You know, the last time I went through this, I had to put myself into the mindset of Jimmy. To get in touch with my own dark feelings. To somehow, like, make the behavior I had to do make sense. But I don't want to be in Jimmy's mindset anymore. I don't want to. I don't want to relate to it. I don't want to understand it. I don't even want to analyze it. But I have to see it through. Oh my God. No, come on. Like, let me fucking finish this. I don't want to be here anymore. A lot of people struggle to put food on their plates, but that wasn't enough, right, Captain? The lowest rung of your ladder is our highest, until it was all swept from under your feet. Life isn't even worth living at the same level as us. But I forgive you. All of us do. I won't give up on you. Even like this, I believe in you. I just can't help it. I can't help it. I have to be Jimmy. I have to get into the mindset. It's the only way for me to survive this. We're gonna make it through this. Sometimes we thrive. Travel the endless reaches of space. But other times, you just have to accept days like these. You taught me that, Curly. Now let's eat. Let's survive. I feel fucking sick. I actually feel fucking sick. Take responsibility. Yes. Yes, this is my moment. Now everyone will get to see that I should have always been the leader. I never needed to change. They needed to change. They needed to see. Now it can all finally come together. Is that the key? The vent that we sent Daisuke into. The ladder we could never quite climb. Where are you taking me, Jimmy? What's waiting for you? No turning back now. Oh, it actually won't let me. I have to take responsibility. How many times, Jimmy? How many times are you gonna try to run away from this? No turning back. There is no turning back, Jimmy. How many times? Where are we? What happened? Wait. What is this? Hands on Daisuke's weights and his game. I don't want to see this anymore. Why are you showing this to me? This is actually horrifying. I want to run away. I don't want to be Jimmy anymore. I never wanted to be Jimmy, but I especially don't want to be him anymore. Responsibility. Run! 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 This is actually a fucking nightmare. Get me out! I'm trying my best to run away from awareness and insight. You can't make me change. There's gotta be a way. There's gotta be a way for that I don't have to take responsibility for this. Oh my god. What am I supposed to do? What else can I do? I don't know what else I can do. Take responsibility. I'll take responsibility. I'll fucking do it. I'll do anything. Just let me out. Please, 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 I'll fucking take ownership of anything you want. I can't do it. Please, 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 what am I supposed to do? What can I do? I'm empty. I'm actually empty. I can't do it. I can't do it. Please, 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 please. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what else to do. Where am I now? Polly. Polly? Are you there? Is there anyone? Polly! Come on. Are these axes? I feel like this is the mindset that Jimmy has been in the entire game. Like, constantly feeling threatened by things all around him. When this wasn't necessarily the case. Like, there were people open to him. Curly especially was open to him, even though he had done something horrible. Even before everything, like, got super fucked up. The crew was still willing to work with Jimmy, even though they fucking hated him. But Jimmy just spends his life feeling like this. Trying to find ways to crawl from responsibility. Lily? Swansea. Can I? No, come on. In case of unrest amongst the crew. Oh, come on. I'm sorry, Swansea. I'm so sorry. Please let this be the end of my nightmare. Dice K. Holy shit. Is that a baby crying? Oh, this is so fucked. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I don't want to defend Jimmy anymore. Let him get chopped up. Let him get chopped up. Oh my God. Where am I supposed to go? That is a baby. Oh, I have something to say. So shut the fuck up and listen. It's been 13 years, half cut up to my eyeballs. Drunk, to put it mildly. And suddenly I saw it, a streetlight shining in my face. 500 gigawatts of the power of God. A vision of my bloated body found in some ditch. Scared me straight. So I got a collar shirt, mortgage, and a credit card. All the things that make a good man. I hoped I could raise my children to be better than their old man. I wanted to believe I was never one setback away from my worst self. But the truth is, discipline, drive, routine, the endless fucking desperation to get shit done. A loving wife, great kids, sobriety. I'm telling you. Accomplishments I'd been chasing all my life. Never felt as good as I expected when I crossed the finish line. So now that we're at the end, take an inventory. Those nights spinning out of my head, sinking into the sofa, broken glass in my palms, bleeding dry, the funniest thing ever. Old dogs laughing and snarling on a waterbed floor, mocking the moon for daring to show its face. All nausea and wreckage and vomit and ugly cruelty. The only problem in the world, an empty bottle. Those were the best days of my life. Yeah. Those are the best days of my life. I got nothing to hide. Ready to face the music. I can see myself for what I am. But you, a cowardly, selfish motherfucker. You can't even see it. I should have been able to protect the kid. If I could have done one thing right, I wish I'd been able to give him one small chance off this goddamn rock. Swansea, I'm going to fix everything. We're going to make it. Fuck you. Yeah, you can see again. I'm here. I'm once again about to start doing therapy talk in front of something morbid, but I'll just go over here. I have to keep it light. I have to make it at least somewhat humorous because it's too depressing otherwise. But you can see that what I was talking about. It's sad. It's really sad that Swansea was talking about, the best days of his life being some of his most difficult. But I think that he was speaking honestly, at least in that moment, that it was a lot of hard work to be a happy person and to have structure and to find meaning. It's not easy to be happy and fulfilled and hell, to even be a good person a lot of the time. It's not easy. It takes a lot of fucking work. And for some, it takes even more. But that's insight. It's true insight and awareness and true change to realize that I might be a fundamentally broken person who is challenged to naturally have good things in my life. At least he got to experience them. And I think in a very real sense, he realized that there was always his inner darkness underneath that stuff. But he saw in Daisuke someone who he could protect from that, from ever even ending up down that path. But Jimmy has no insight. He has no awareness. He has no desire and maybe not even a capacity for change at this point. Swansea was willing to take responsibility for his life, which not every decision he made was great or even helpful. In fact, a lot of them were probably self-destructive. But Jimmy, I don't think he even knows how. Curly? Curly? God, this is making me fucking dizzy now. This has got to be the end, right? This has got to be close to the end. I'm so tormented. Please, please. Oh my God. Why does it have to be fleshy? Why does it have to be fleshy? Oh my God. What is that? It's Curly. Curly? Oh, come on. Still? You're still gonna make me do this?
Tis old Mother Goose's birthday. We're giving her a party. A party, a party, a party for Mother Goose.
The baker man, he served the cake. It was a sight to see.
What? What did that say? Oh no. 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 I'm gonna be sick. Someday he'll thank me. Use Curly's leg. Are you fucking kidding me? Nope. It's actually... I don't know. I don't know if I can... No, come on. I don't know if I can do it. I actually don't know if I can do it. This is the most horrific thing. No, please. Why, Jimmy? Why? Fucking why? Why, Jimmy? Why? I'm gonna be sick. I'm already sick, but I'm gonna be sick. You all have been waiting. You've all been waiting for this. Yeah, you all knew. Every single one of you who's watched these videos knew that this was coming, and you've just been sitting there waiting for me to get tortured. Oh, you're all so, you're all so fucking lovely. Yeah, I want to see Brady feed Curly his fucking leg. That'll get him. Holy shit. Is that all? Is that all I gotta do? I don't care. It's nothing. It doesn't bother me. It's whatever. It's not gross. It's just a leg. It's just a leg. It's just his leg. It's just meat. No. Doesn't bother me. It's okay. I'm just helping out a friend. I'm cool. It's cool. Okay. There's gotta be something I'm missing here. Can I just leave? Can I do anything else? Can I do literally anything else? Curly, please. Please. Why is... what am I supposed to be hoping happens here? It's getting stuck. What am I missing? Can I go back to, like, where the problem was I had to build a cake? Can I go back to that? I was having fun at that point in the game. This is fucked. Okay. I'm starting to realize I'm not just supposed to keep feeding him his leg. I have to turn the dials or something. Okay. I don't know why, but I was just thinking I had to keep doing this until something happened. Oh my god. Oh, Curly, I'm so sorry. Someone thought this was going to be a great puzzle. Someone said, hey, I got an idea for a puzzle. Now this is gameplay. I did it! I solved it! I fed Curly his leg. I won! I beat mouthwashing! Help me. I tried, Jimmy. I fucking tried. I really, really tried. I want to go home. We are home. Why don't you finish what you started? Don't worry. If anyone ever finds us, I'll still be playing the villain. You'll be the better man in the end, like you wanted. I could have stopped it. I'm taking responsibility. No, we can both be heroes. It's got my eyebrows shooting up. We're a team, just you and me, like we used to be. What happened was an accident. We were trapped. I made a mistake, all right? I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry, Curly. Except you weren't trapped, Jimmy, when you did what you did to Anya. You don't really have an excuse for that. What is this? What is this? What am I doing? Is this... Is this a fucking ultrasound? This is dark. Oh my god. This is so fucked. Is that Polly? Why did that look like Polly? What is going on? Are you gonna tell me that feeding Curly his fucking leg wasn't the worst thing? Oh my god! All clean. Really gets rid of that bad taste in your mouth, huh? The wreckage. Through silence. Wash it away. All day fire fresh. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. Jesus. How is this still going? How is the No. No. No, I still don't want to do that. Polly. Please, Polly. Jesus. Do I have to be quiet again? Fuck me! Get me out! My mouth is washed. I just want to leave now. Come on. Come on. Come on. Gotta be close. I gotta be close. Come on. 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 Where are we going? Where am I now? Where am I now? What is this? Identifications? Mouthwash? Ladder. Where am I going? Where am I going? I already fed Curly his fucking leg. Come on. Polly. Pony Express is dead, and so are you.
Polly says.
Shut up. Curly tried his best. I did too, but he's the better man. I see that now. We can both still make it. Bro. No awareness, no insight, no capacity for change. I'll take care of him. I'm taking responsibility. Jimmy, no. Jimmy, no. Curly, Captain, I'm so sorry. Yes, I do. I fucked up. But I can still make this right. You can't claim to take responsibility and be in denial about like where the situation is and where it can go from here. Like, it's not possible, Jimmy. Our worst moments don't make us... "0 hours before judgment." Seriously. What more do I have to put Curly through? Holy fuck. We're heroes, Curly. We're both heroes. We're making it out of this. We're going home. The pod. Wait. It's okay, Curly. You're going to be okay. Wait, Curly is the one who makes it out of this? You always had my back. I ended up hurting you even though I was trying to save us. but now you'll survive. I feel like this... Yeah, Jimmy... The amount of times the game has brought up this, like, our worst moments don't define us. I also don't think one good moment defines us either. I don't think that doing this, like saving Curly, makes any of this okay. It's like you said, together we can fix anything. You can't, Jimmy! You fucking can't! I'm just proud I got to be your friend and co-pilot, Captain. No one can hurt you now. Now? Now that I've chopped off your leg and fed it to you. You got your skin burned. You've experienced and witnessed an untold amount of trauma. Now you're safe. We fixed it. I fixed it. This is not redemption. This is not redemption at all. Jimmy's not rehabilitated. He's not learned any sort of lesson. He's not become aware of the faults that led to this. He has not developed insight around why, what deficiencies of character and personality and emotion led him to those behaviors. Because he's coming back to, I can fix it. We can fix it. We're coming back to the start of this where we can do anything. Like, of course he has not learned a fucking lesson. Sadly, I'm sure this gets mistaken by some people as like, Jimmy's redeemed himself at the end. No. No. Not in my book. What? What a fucking ending, though. Well, that's mouthwashing. And I don't think that it actually lands on as such a downer point as, like, it immediately seems. While what happened in the storyline is horrific, but I think that the feeling that I'm sitting with right now is kind of a bittersweet one. Because everything we experienced in this horrific scenario, the imagery is disturbing. The characterization of some of the actions is disturbing, but I think there's a lot of beautiful moments that are just as memorable. And they're not as simple as someone did something good and something good happened. The beautiful moments are ones of vulnerability. I feel exhausted. I feel emotionally drained. But I feel very much like that window of psychological work is something that this game put us in, right? In a very real sense, like, I find, just like I explained, that visiting these very challenging experiences, visiting your difficult to process emotions, getting messy with them, realizing it's not all black and white, realizing that, like, sometimes the goal is just to become aware, sometimes it's to understand, sometimes it's to change, sometimes it's all of them. And that requires a lot of effort and can be very fatiguing. I share the perspective that that is all worth doing, and that that's one of the pursuits of mental wellness, is you have to visit some of this stuff. My approach is to welcome someone into that zone and help them process it. And this game's approach seems to be to depict that and to invite us into that zone by like reflecting to us these situations. It didn't take an intellectual approach, right? And I think that that's carried through so much of the visual imagery. It's disturbing to feed Curly his leg. It's horrifying to be chased by a stillborn poly worm. It's incredibly challenging to hear Anya's story and know that it was overlooked and that something could have been done about it. But when we're put into that zone and faced with some of these challenging things, we can work through them productively if we're also provided a way out of that. If some kind of catharsis awaits us at the end of that journey, and we learn something from it. And despite how it ended, I don't take this game's like thesis on things to be there is no way back from being a monster. I think that there was a way back for Swansea, for Anya, for Curly, and even for Jimmy. Like I said, I really do believe in the capacity to change. But that person has to be open to it. And I don't think Jimmy really was. He never asked to understand Anya's experience. He dismissed it, blamed her for it. He never asked for Curly's perspective. He just felt suppressed by it and felt like it was a competition. He didn't put the same kind of care, even if misguided, that Swansea put into Daisuke. There were opportunities for his emotional range to expand. He just didn't take them. There was a way back for Anya as well, but I think that she needed more help. She needed more help from Curly. She needed something very different from the people around her to make her feel safe enough to open up about what happened, but also to protect her from the person who did it. There was a way back for Daisuke. He actually had good role models around him in Swansea, in the right state of mind, and Anya. This crew really failed him, I think most especially. And I guess there is still a way back for Curly. I mean, maybe he survives this situation. He's gonna need a lot of therapy, I think, to integrate all of these experiences. But at the same time, like in my career, I have seen some people come back from not quite this, but some severe traumas and depersonalizations slowly and maybe not completely. But I've seen people put in the work, and that's kind of the feeling I'm left with, is it is worth doing. But you have to be open to the process. And I guess that's the end.